Thanks to the support as a channel member, Jack Sorbers. It's fantastic to be back on the same page, Mrs Wearmouth. I completely agree. We have 2 goals for this summer. Goal number 1 is to consolidate our young squad and hopefully start to put together something that can go a little bit better in the Champions League next year. And goal number 2, we've got to get rid of one of these over 23 non-EU players. We've got 6. It needs to go down to 5. And we need to try and get value on whichever one we sell. All 6 of them are great. They're all current internationals. We can't just bargain basement offer them out. Yeah, it probably will be Milo. No one can know it comes from you. Hello and welcome to part 89 of the Greek Odyssey. I'm Kevin. Coming up on today's episode, we have our season review and transfer special as we look to put together an Apollon side that can finally go one better in the Champions League. As you can see, we comfortably won the league again. We actually won the league away from home with a 4-0 win at Olympiacos. Where are we? Where is the game? Where is the game? This is the game. We beat Olympiacos 4-0 at their place and got presented with the trophy. No, it couldn't have been this one because it was at their place. I remember thinking, this is fun. Did we beat them 4-0 twice? We did. It was this one. We beat them 4-0 at their place, presented with the trophy on the pitch afterwards, and a splendid time was had by all. We also won the Greek Cup again. As you can see, Ryan Allen's been banging in the goals as well during this period. He is turning into quite the signing, especially considering he doesn't even speak Greek yet. I don't think. I'm assuming he doesn't. He's got basic Greek. Once that boy can speak proper Greek, he's going to be an absolute superstar. But we have won the league. We have won the cup. It's 6 in a row in the league, 3 in a row in the cup. And it is all about putting together that Champions League winning team. I don't know how Inter got on in the Champions League. Let's go back and see what happened next with Inter. They got knocked out by Manchester City in the next round, who in turn got through to at least the final. Did Manchester City? It's Manchester City against Milan in the final. It makes me feel a little bit better seeing AC Milan in the final, considering they absolutely dominated us in the group stages. Manchester City's an interesting one. And also, Manchester City, interesting news. I did notice there was a big sale that Manchester City had rather recently. Where is he? Where is he? There's our boy, Ryan Lawson, in a £94 million transfer to Barcelona. He's earning £300,000 a week at Barcelona. I don't think he's coming back to Apollon anytime soon. That's not bad business from City, really, is it? Buy a player for $5.5 million, have him as a rotation player for a year and a half, and sell him on for $94 million. No wonder they've got so much money. Absolutely ridiculous. But yeah, Ryan Lawson is having a lovely time over in Spain now. Should we get into our season review? I think we should. So this is our overall best 11. Tennessee has finally become a part of it. Lensina has also been added into the all-time best 11 now. So it's now Tennessee in goal, as it should be. A back 4 of Kansarovic, who's obviously still with us. Lawson, who we've just checked up on already. Michaelis and Kalapitas, who are both also still with us. And then we've got LeBrew at the base of the midfield, who's now playing for Atalanta in Serie A. He's done I don't want to say a full season. He started 7 games. He's a squad player in Serie A now. Is he resurrecting his international career? He is. 23 caps now. He's played in 1 international game. LeBrew is a Greek international again. Cordoba and Duffy in midfield. Sanchez and on one wing, who's obviously still with us, then Marola and Damien. They're going to take some moving out of this team, even though Marola, I was going to say Marola, not quite the same man since going back to Italy. But you know what? 11 goals from the right wing in Serie A. He's 29 years old now. Marola looking like he is a half-decent player. Never did get to play for Italy, which obviously Carnevali has. And then there's Damien, who we have been scouting again because I really, really want him. People saying he's not as good as what we've got. My scout reports beg to differ. Much better than Ryan Allen. Much, much better than Carnevali and Acosta. He's an elite level striker who's now wanted by Real Madrid. He is doing a European tour, but 21 goals in 30 games for Dortmund this season in the Bundesliga suggests that whatever problems he was having at Paris Saint-Germain, and really towards the end of his career with us, even though he was still knocking the goals in, he had a few off-the-pitch problems in that last season. Never really got established at PSG, but has been a star at Dortmund and is now wanted by Real Madrid. So again, another one who we're unlikely to get back anytime soon. He's also back in the England team, playing 3 or 4 games for England this season, which is Lovely, lovely stuff. So that's the all-time best 11. End of season awards for this season, as I would expect from having seen him play in all the league games that you've not been witnessing. Unai Dominguez has been our best player this year by a mile. 65% of the vote. Absolutely deserved. He has been a superstar. He's broken his back. He's got a lower back stress fracture that he's about to recover from, so he's missed the run-in. So hopefully all these downward arrows will correct themselves when he gets back into pre-season again. But 24 appearances, 9 goals, 7 assists, 7 man of the matches and a 7.78 average rating. He has been a superstar for us this season. Lencina and Acosta finishing second and third. Goal of the season, and an example of just how much rotation we've been doing. Gulilimos Papadiotis, who's an 18-year-old defensive midfielder who hasn't played a league game in all that rotation, but has played in the Cup for us 4 times. This shows the strength and depth we've got with our young Greek players. Luris played in this game, by the way. I remember noticing him at the time. But Rafael plays it across to Dominguez. Dominguez to Papadiotis, who from miles out just absolutely thunders it into that top corner. Goals always look better when they hit the inside of the post like that. Signing of the season, Ryan Allen. Not arguing with that at all. I'm glad we didn't wait to bring him in on a free transfer in the summer. Might end up being the best £17 million we'll ever spend. 7 goals from 16 appearances. It's 7 goals from 13 starts, or 8 from 16 starts in all competitions, and half of those starts have been out on the wing. He is a natural goal scorer. He is lightning quick. He is my kind of striker. If we keep Acosta this summer, we can let Carnevali go because we've got Ryan Allen. 7.38 is his average rating, and he doesn't even speak Greek yet. Dominguez, young player of the year as well, as you'd expect. And our team of the year, Tennessee in goal, back for a Rafael Criado Michaelis Solorzano. Criado probably going to be going back to Real Madrid this summer. I mean, we can try and extend his loan. Yeah, he's not coming back, so we're going to have to go with Hernandez and Michaelis next season, which we've been planning for all year. Hernandez has played a lot of games. Milo at the base of the midfield, Dominguez and Leica in midfield. Leica is another one similar to Dominguez, who's really benefited from getting game time in this rotation we've been doing in the league this year. He's a 4-star player with 5-star potential. He is an outstanding attacking midfielder who we've just been playing as our Mazzala. 26 games, 10 goals, 4 assists and a 7.4 for him. That could be our central midfield partnership for years to come, and they're 19 and 22 years old. Kev, you don't develop youth. I know, I'm a monster. And then a front 3 of German, Acosta and Lencina, which again looks about right. Let's just count the non-EU. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So on that basis, this should be the 5 that we keep, which means we need to move on. See, that immediately doesn't work because Hernandez is non-EU, and we need to keep him. But this suggests Sanchez and Cordoba definitely need to be moving on this summer, and maybe one other, maybe Acosta, because as much as I like Marcus Acosta, he's not quite quick enough to be my kind of striker in my kind of system. Only coming in with 8 goals for us again this year. He averages a 7.33. He plays well, and he does link up play well with everyone around him. 7 assists. He plays as a complete forward and really is a world-class complete forward. But on that basis, look at the teams that are in for him. We could get big, big, big money for Marcus Acosta and have Allen and Carnevali as our 2 attacker options who both play the way I want to play. So it might make sense to let Acosta go. Oh, Milo's going to be here forever. He's going to somehow escape the chop every year, despite always being the obvious one. Top scorers shared between Acosta and Lencina, 15 goals apiece. Top average rating was Dominguez on 7.74. Acosta and Dominguez again sharing assists. Yannick Doring, our new young Austrian goalkeeper who came in January, best pass completion. He played 7 league games, 10 games in total. He'll just continue to get game time and get better, hopefully, as he looks to be the long-term replacement for Tennessee. Dominguez, most man of the match awards, and then the Naughty Boys Club is down there. Season review, we achieved everything we were supposed to achieve. What did Mrs Wearmouth actually want in the Champions League this year? Where is it? She wanted to reach the first knockout round, which we did. And that's the goal again for next year, and we'll do it. We need something special to happen to kick off to that next level. Let's do the expectations and just check in with all that stuff just to confirm. So we've added a new requirement to win silverware. You know what, Mrs Wearmouth, I think that might be okay. We've won, 12 trophies in the last 6 years. I think we'll probably be okay. There's our team leaders, Michaelis, Cordoba, Duffy. I think it is time for Cordoba to move on this summer. We'll have a look at him properly in a second, but I think Cordoba's time is coming to an end. He's not a regular starter for us anymore. He's non-EU. He's the obvious one who misses out. I look back now at 2 or 3 years ago when we were turning down £38 million bids for him and holding out for 40, thinking maybe I should have let him go and gone with Dominguez back then. But I think we've developed Dominguez perfectly by easing him into the first team, not putting too much pressure on. So if we end up only getting 15, 20 million for Cordoba, I think it's worth it for the development that Dominguez has gone through in that time. And it is nice to have Cordoba be forced out the team by a young player who's better than him, rather than having to scratch around trying to find a replacement like we potentially would have been if he'd have got at the time. You can see how many of our players are wanted by other clubs, and they're wanted by big other clubs as well. So there's going to be something in the way of business going on this summer. I don't desperately need to sell anybody other than the one non-EU player, but I suspect Mrs Wearmouth's not going to give me much money to spend again. We've only got less than £5 million in the bank, and it'll be interesting to see what kind of budgets that we get. But I did want to show you just how many players we've given significant game time to this year. Show you some of our young Greek players, because I know some of you are really into the young Greek players. It's fun seeing how many of our team got above 10 goals. That's nice to see. But let's just pick out some of the youngsters who played a lot of game time. We've already looked at Leica. Just a quick look at Cordoba, because I said I would. 28 years old now, turns 29 next season. Does still get called up for the Argentina squad fairly regularly, but I think it's pretty clear from those appearance numbers that now is probably the time for him to move on. Dominguez has very much taken his spot. Leica we know about already. Who else have we got in the way of youngsters who've played a lot of football? Sonny, who came in January. 5-star potential, Brazilian/Portuguese/Spanish attacker/winger. He's getting plenty of game time because he looks awesome. But then we have got quite a lot of Greek players who've been getting time here and there on rotation. Simos Chinopoulos is a defensive midfielder, 17 years old. He's had 6 games from us this season. The youngster Esparza, who came in January, he's getting a bit of game time. Oscar Jimenez, who's the next right back off the conveyor belt. He needs a loan this summer because he's non-EU, but we'll look to send him out to Spain for a couple of years. Probably him and Tata, who is an 18-year-old Brazilian. They'll both go out for 2-year Spanish loans this summer. That's definitely part of the plan. Also getting game time, we've already seen Papadiotis. We saw him get goal of the season. We've got Charalabos Panolias, who is a centre-back who played a little bit of time in the Cups, didn't really get in during the league run. Conturas is another one who played a little bit in the Cups earlier in the season, who's a right winger. There are a few. There's nobody spectacular. If we sort this by potential, and this is why we're going to continue bringing in our own 18-year-olds, because if we sort it by potential and look, let's play spot the Greek player. And the first Greek player, bearing in mind we're hoovering up the best young Greek talent when we can find it. The best potential Greek player we've got is this guy, Charis Vlasaros, who's 16 years old, came through the youth system this summer, presumably. I guess when he came through, he had 3-star potential, because I didn't bother posting the youth intake for the channel members because it looked like there was no one any good, but he's now bumped up to a potential 4-star. If there's any name in the game channel members who want him, let me know. But yeah, there's a couple that are maybe 4-star, which is fine for a squad player. I mean, you just have to look at someone like Kalapitis, who in the current quality of the club would only be showing as a 2-star potential, but he's played probably getting on for 250 to maybe even 300 games for us in all competitions now. So having a Greek player who's just useful and can cover a few positions and not let us down is a handy thing to have. If we have a look at our team report then and get an idea of what we're going to put together, so let's get rid of expiring contracts, because that gets rid of Dave and Criado, who are both going to be going back to their parent clubs. I certainly don't feel the need to bring Dave back with the other strikers that we've got. But if we filter this to 3-star, you can see we've got a nice selection of strikers now, assuming we keep Acosta. It's interesting that Sanchez and Allen are showing on there, but German is not now. So German, according to this guy, my assistant manager, has now fallen down massively, which is a bit of a weird one because he was our best left winger last year. And maybe he suffered from, perhaps I've rotated too much. And at 22, He's not got enough game time in the last year. Maybe I've gone too far the other way. But Sanchez might well be leaving, and I think I'd be fine with German. I don't know. So the thing with Sanchez is he can play both sides. So there's a good argument for keeping Acosta, Sanchez, and Lencina. But then we've got to get rid of Milo and Cordoba. Cordoba going is not a big deal. In the central midfield, we've got Dominguez, Duffy, Leica, Gufas will be coming back from his loan as well. Sati, I'm probably done with, but Gufas can probably slot into that 4 in the place of Cordoba. He's been out getting game time. 23 years old now, but 9 caps for Greece. I put him into the Kalapitas category. He's never going to be a regular starting superstar for us, but as a Greek international who can be our 4th choice central midfielder, I think he'll be fine as a squad member, just so that we've got extra Greek players in there. So I think, Hernandez is our best defender, then Michaelis. We probably do need another centre-back. We've got Svoras, who's played quite a bit of football for us this year, 21 years old. He's started 20 league games for us this year. So he's ready to step in and be our new Kalapitas, because he can play centre-back, he can play left-back, he can play defensive midfield, and he has played in all of those this season. So plenty of opportunity for him. I think we definitely need a centre-back. And if we're going with Hernandez, we're keeping Solorzano, we're keeping Tenesi, we're keeping the front 3, it's got to be Milo and Cordoba who go. Cordoba for sure. Milo, we've got options. We've got Henrique we brought in last summer who can develop into that role. Michaelis, Dominguez, Cordoba, Duffy can all play there. We've got Papa Panigis, who's been out on loan. He's played 15 times for Greece now. So he's another one who could be drafted back into this first team, just on a full season in La Liga, having previously done a full season in Serie A. A lot of it comes down to how much money we're going to be given and which offers we get. I don't really want to offer anybody out because then we'll get no money. Border upgrading the youth facilities, which is nice, which is very nice. I'm choking on Mrs Wearmouth's generosity. She's such a lovely woman. Initial budgets then. Here we go. Cross fingers. What have we got? It's just a disappointment every time. £1.1 million for wages, which I think is a little bit more than we already had. But a £2 million transfer budget for a team that's expected to compete in the Champions League is absolute insanity. At least we're going to keep pushing on with the youth system, which is very important. We've already got we've got superb youth facilities. This should push us back up to state of the art. Exceptional academy coaching, exceptional youth recruitment. So we're still focusing on youth. We've got to sell to buy. I think I'm going to have to bite the bullet and offer some players out, aren't I? Well, we've let the nation down. And to be fair, so have the other teams. We have dropped back down to 2 Champions League spots. And what's this? 2 Champions League spots, 1 Europa League spot, and 2 Conference League spots. Our coefficient has fallen. Where are we? We're down to 7. So Turkey have snuck back above us again. And they must just have had a team have a fantastic run this season just gone, because they got an 18.3 when we got a 7.25. Who did what in Turkey? Did Galatasaray run deep in the Europa League or something? That's all I can I can't imagine they were in the Champions League deep. No, they didn't even make it into the Champions League. But they did. They made it to the second round of the Europa League. Who else could have done it? Besiktas? What were they doing? So they also got to the second knockout round of the Europa League. Oh no, it was 2 years ago. What? Then I don't understand where they got their coefficient from. It can't be one of the smaller teams have done something spectacular, surely. So Fenerbahce got to 3rd in the Champions League group and then also got to the second knockout round in the Europa League. Maybe we need to do a season back in the Europa League to bump us back up again. Trabzonspor, were they even in Europe? I don't think they were. Oh no, they got to the Europa League Europa League group stage as well. So let down by the fact that it was only really us and PAOK. I mean, both us and PAOK did make it to the first knockout round of the Champions League, but we just keep getting knocked out there. And as you can see, we're going to follow that line. It's been our worst season in Europe as a nation ever. Well, not ever, but since we started the rise. If we have a look at our qualification spots, so dropping back down below Turkey, so it is one group stage Champions League, which will be us, one best place qualifier, which I don't even remember who finished second last year. We'll have to have a look. Europa League, it's just the one team into the playoff. So we were previously having a team straight into the Europa League group stage, but we now don't, although presumably that team will. And then two teams in the Conference League, but again, straight into the qualifying round. So if we have a look at the Greek League this year, just gone. So it's Panathinaikos who are going to get the opportunity to get into the Champions League with us. PAOK, who got in this year, have dropped all the way down to 5th. So it looks like for this season, actually, it's the same. So this obviously changes for the season after. So even Panionios, who finished 6th, are getting into the Conference League, but it's the following season that it drops down. Much sadness. Much sadness. We need to sort ourselves out in Europe for the good of the nation. In other news, we turned down a £15 million offer from Paris Saint-Germain for Tennessee, and he's got a grumpy on. So as much as he's not the one that I want to sell, he is non-EU. He might be going. If he does go, we do have to buy a replacement goalkeeper because we've sold both Osman and Salakis in the last year. Doring is going to be good, but he's not good enough to be our first choice yet. So we would need to go out and spend most of the money that we get for him on a goalkeeper. We've got this guy as well, Spencer Araboa, who's our Mexican under-20 international goalkeeper, who should be coming back with his Spanish passport this summer, I think. No, he's got to do another year. So he needs to send him back to Spain anyway. Sorry, people of Greece. Well, it's been a very frustrating summer so far. It's got us through to the 9th of July. We have finally got rid of one of our non-EU players. Nicolas Cordoba, after 5 years at the club, joins Fiorentina for £25 million. What a piece of business. What a signing. What a player he's been for the club. Signed for £4.7 million. Played 4 years as a regular starter before being displaced by Dominguez last year, and we've still sold him for more than 5 times what we paid for him. He is still getting regularly called up to the Argentina squad, though, to be fair. There you go. He played 5 games at the World Cup that's just happened. So it's not like he's not any good. Fiorentina have got a good deal. We needed to liquidate an asset. Michaelis is upset about it, kind of justifiably so, but he needs to calm down on the basis that we're going to reinvest the money we got from that in a centre-back to play with him. Duffy wants to join Man City, but they're only offering like £25 million for a player that we spent £40 million on, and he's since become a regular England starter. He isn't going anywhere for less than £75 million, which means he's not going anywhere. Tennessee's still a little bit grumpy as well, but we do now have £12.5 million to spend, which means we can actually start looking for some players now, because we had no money before Cordoba left. So if we filter this down to 3-star players again, it's pretty clear where we need players. We're pretty solid up front in midfield. We know we've got youngsters coming through in the midfield positions as well, but it's at the back that we need players. I would suggest even more than a left back. So we've got Kansarovic and Raphael at left back. Where's Kansarovic? Oh, it's because his contract's expiring? How is that? Well, he needs a new contract then. Oh, I've already offered him a new contract. Why hasn't he signed it yet? This is all unnecessary. But we've got Kansarovic and Raphael there. But we need a centre-back. If you have a look at what we've got behind Hernandez and Michaelis, we've got Kalapitas, Milo, no, Svoras. We need a centre-back. So, shopping, centre-back. Let's hopefully bring a good one in. So, of course, I spent the entire budget on another attacking midfielder who's 18 years old and not ready for the first team yet. We'll get back to him, though. I did it because we were able to get Criado back after all. Despite the fact all last year we were being told, no, can't renew his contract. No, Real Madrid want to give him a chance in his first team. He'd been back in Spain a week. And apparently they decided they didn't want him. So he is back for his 3rd year in a row. Now, I know the last time I did a 3rd consecutive year loaning a player, there was a lot of this in the comments about how it doesn't happen in real life. I've been managing in Mexico in my other save for a season and a half now. I know it does happen in real life. If you don't believe me, you should be watching that series. These long loans, we're just doing things the Mexican way. It's fine. So Criado's back, which is what allowed it to be a lesser priority to bring in a defender, and which is why we have signed Dalibor Bruman, who's an 18-year-old Slovenian attacking midfielder, 10 caps for Slovenia already at 18 years old. Similar to what we've done with Leica before. He can play as an attacking midfielder, but also in central midfield or up front. He's not quite the finisher or the goal scorer that Leica is, but I think he'll turn into a very solid central midfielder, given time to develop. We have spent £9.5 million on him a year after Napoli spent 1.8 million and then got most of their money back, loaning him back to Slovenia for this season. I mean, if I was Olympia in Slovenia, I'd be feeling a little hard done by. Lose your best young player for 1.8 million, spend a year getting your £1.5 million together to loan him back again, only to have we're having it. Surely they got a refund of this loan fee. He didn't even play a game, bless him. But Dalibor Bruman is in. He's been given Cordoba's former number 7 shirt as well, so no pressure on him or anything. But he's Cordoba's replacement in the eyes of the fans, and that's probably pretty close to it for our transfers. We're now back in the same situation we were in before, sat here with not really much in the way of spare wage budget. I mean, there's a bit we could shuffle it around a little bit, but not massively. Not really much in the way of transfer budget. Certainly not enough to bring in anyone who's going to improve the team. Now, the one exception to us being about done is if we get a big offer for a player that we might want to sell. I mean, £9 million. I don't care that it's PSG. £9 million for any of our young players is ridiculous. But now Enrique's upset as well. Can we convince him to stay? We're going through this with lots of players. I can't consider you a star player because you're a 2-star current. I mean, you're going to be good. You're going to be great. And to be honest, he will play a lot of football this year. I could probably tell him he's a star player, play him in all the league games. And if it makes him stay, what's the harm, eh? But we have got a couple of players who are a little bit grumpy. Duffy wants to go back to England and worryingly has only 2 years left on his contract. So we need him to chill out and sign a new one. Otherwise, we might actually be forced to sell Duffy at a loss. And he'd be our first really big, significant money loser of the series, which would be a real shame for a player who's played over 250 games for us, for him to end up losing a significant money. Imagine losing massive money on an English international midfielder in his prime. I don't get it. Tennessee also needs to cheer up. And this lad is going to go out on loan. That's fine. We've already accepted a loan for him to go out. He's probably been a bit of a flop as well. I mean, he might still come good. I don't know what Past Kev was thinking, spending £10 million on him, then loaning him out immediately. I think we kind of ruined him doing that. But you never know. He might come good on this loan. Team cohesion is dropping, even though we've not really changed anything. I guess the one change is Cordoba's gone, but Carnevale's just stepped right up to become a team leader in his place, which is nice. We just need to sort Duffy out. Our new captain, Jorge Lencina, 23 years old. He's been wanted by lots of clubs. It's the usual suspect, Dortmund and Bayern, plus a few others. But hopefully we can convince him to stay because in fact, every time an offer comes in, he says he's not interested in going. I think he likes the fact he's just been made captain, which is awesome. Little message for the channel members, the name in the game lot. It's never fully over. Todd Thomas has returned, age 26, to be our third choice keeper for the year. It's handy having a homegrown goalkeeper knocking around. He can be our third choice guy. He's homegrown at club for the Champions League, obviously, because he came through our youth system. He's only ever played one game in his entire career. I didn't actually instigate this transfer. My director of football said, Kev, you need another goalkeeper. How would you like this guy? And when I saw his name, I didn't even scout him. Just said, yes, Todd, back you come, son. Todd Thomas is our third choice goalkeeper. Remember when he was a 5-star potential youngster? That shows how much he came through the same youth team as Ryan Lawson. What a different trajectory those two have had. Looking back, you look back on the channel community page to the day I posted that youth intake up and Ryan Lawson just gets in first. I'll have that top one. I'll have the defender, please. Todd's like, never mind. There's a 5-star potential goalkeeper on there as well. I win too. Very sorry, Todd. But in another life, Todd Thomas did play in a Champions League final in nominee to legend this year. So it swings and roundabouts, doesn't it? 39.5 million for Carnevale, 61 million for Lencina, 34 for Duffy. There was one just recently, £49 million for Hernandez. We could have brought in £200 million worth of player under our old transfer policy. But like I said, I think at the start of this video, it might have been in the one where we got knocked out of the Champions League. The plan is to try and keep our team together as much as we can. Stop selling our best players, keep the best players at the club, and then add young players to the mix to try and develop. As you can see, this is our best 11 according to my assistant manager, which already has a selection of our newest wonder kids in. Solorzano, Hernandez, Laika, Dominguez, along with Criado, who's just come back. Tenesi's still very young. Lencina and Sanchez still young. And Ryan Allen, he's just won best player at the Nations League, which we know is a big deal. But without being sarcastic, if we have a look at previous best players award winners, how do we do that? It was on here somewhere. Basically, it's an award that's previously been won by the likes of Mbappe, De Bruyne, etc., etc., etc. He's looking good. He's still only 22 years old. He is going to be a superstar. We've got a good team and some good backup to that good team and some really solid youth prospects at the club. We just don't want to be selling off Lencina and Duffy and Hernandez and having to constantly start. That's why we're not going past the first knockout round, because every time we get a good crop of players together, we sell them on. This lot, if they're good enough to go and play for Chelsea and Paris Saint-Germain and Bayern Munich and all these big teams, do it with us. I mean, we've got, according to this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 world-class or bordering on world-class players. We've got to get past the first knockout round of the Champions League this year. We owe it to Greece. Closed. It will close very shortly, though. Ryan Allen getting a hat-trick on the first day of the new season, which is always very nice from your new fancy striker you're pinning a lot of hopes on. There's been a little bit more transfer business as well. We've sold a couple of fringe players, a youngster, Alfredo Sarti, who came in like 3 years ago and was never going to get in the team, so he's gone back to Italy. And we made a slight profit on him, which is nice. And also, I agonised over this next one a little bit, but I've taken the advice of the comments section. If we've got a fringe Greek player and we're trying to grow Greece as a nation, especially as we're falling down the UEFA coefficients, let them go out and play for other Greek clubs. Stavros Goufas, 11 caps for Greece. He did come back to us. He even played in that first game of the season. But Panathinaikos offering his value. They'll play him every single game. It's got to be for the best that he goes and plays football for them. So, Champions League draw. We are still seeded first. I wonder how much longer we get seeded first for if we now we've fallen down the pecking order a little bit, because there's no Turkey were above us, but there's no Turkish team seeded first. So I guess it's done on individual performances. So although the rest of Greece is letting us down, the top Turkish team is Galatasaray on a 65 coefficient. We've got a 90 as our coefficient, which is the same as Bayern Munich and just behind Paris Saint-Germain. So although we feel like we've had a disappointing few years in Europe, clearly we're massively overperforming in Europe still. So let's find out our groups. We've got Group D this time round, and it would be nice to avoid some big teams. Although looking at the second seeds, Man City, Juventus, Liverpool, Barcelona, Borussia Dortmund, Man United are amongst them. Champions League's a hard competition, isn't it? So we've got Liverpool, where Duffy wants to go, so that'd be interesting if he does go before the deadline. I've slapped an £80 million asking price on him. We will see. Hertha Berlin, we know we can beat. And then lastly, CSKA Moscow. So I look at that and think we should have a slightly more comfortable time getting out of our group this year. Yes, Liverpool are going to be a challenge. We don't have the English league loaded, so we don't actually know how they've been doing. But presumably they've been winning the league quite a lot. They finished third last year. We could top this group again, or at the very least be competitive and get through in second place. So a little bit easier than last time round. Let's just hit continue another time just to see if we just to see who we've got coming up on tomorrow's episode as our first games. And it is, where are we? So tomorrow we're going to have Hertha and CSKA Moscow. We've got to be looking for 6 points before we hit Liverpool, the Liverpool double header, which will be in a couple of days' time. Actually, on the topic of when videos are coming out, I've just made this decision and tweeted it out in real life, but I should mention it in the videos as well. For the foreseeable future now, there's not going to be any weekend videos on the channel. As you know, if you watch my vlog channel, me and Anna are in the process of trying to move house. We haven't actually found a house yet, but we're clearing out our current house. We need to relocate for her job. So busy real life stuff going on. So I'm just going to free up the weekends so that I can actually do stuff like fill a skip, go look at houses, that kind of thing. So no weekend videos, probably until FM21, but there still will be daily videos every day. So your next video, the Hertha and CSKA Moscow matches, that'll be Monday in the normal 11 o'clock slot. But let's just finish off the transfer window, just see if there's any more business that needs to be done. Like I say, it'll only happen if anyone leaves. We don't have any money to spend, but there is still a lot of clubs sniffing around Duffy. He is unhappy and has less than 2 years left on his contract. So if we get that £80 million offer, realistically, if we get anything over 60 million, we're probably going to let Duffy go. Well, there were some big deadline day offers. We got a £50 million plus offer from Dominguez, a £30 million plus offer for Laika, £30 million offers for Sanchez, 25 for Carnevale, 18 for Michaelis, 11 or 12 for Raphael, 18 for Milo. We turned them all down. No deadline day business really, other than a couple more loans. In fact, this one kind of snuck out from under me. Porto nicked Papadiotis. I thought I'd turn this down, but apparently I hadn't. So he's gone there. So we've lost one of our 18-year-old youngsters, which I'm not even really sure how that one happened, but it has. But have managed to loan out Jimenez. He's not gone to Spain for his passport, but he is going to be playing regular football in Greece. We had too many non-EU players. How unusual that is for me, but we had 9 in the squad. So he wasn't registered, so he wasn't going to play at all for us. We couldn't get him out in Spain, so he's gone to Panathinaikos. He'll play regularly for them, and then we'll review next summer what we're going to do with him. And we've also loaned out Sporas. He's gone out to Osasuna for the year, having played quite a lot of football for us last year, but it's time for him to go and get some football somewhere else. Likewise, Sonny, who's our 18-year-old Portuguese future star, who came in last year and did play 10 games for us, but he's very much a fringe player, whereas Sporting have said they'll make him a regular starter. So if he's going to go and play 20, 30 games for them, that's much better than getting 10 for us again, which is all he'd get, especially with the strikers we've got at the club now. It's going to take a big effort for Sonny to get into that team. So probably one of the quieter transfer windows I've done. In fact, you can see from the graphs, big, quiet transfer window, 12.5 million spent, 34 million in, as ever, a transfer window that's operating on a net transfer profit. We have a look at the overview, you can see that we're closing in on £100 net, £100 million net transfer profit now. And I expect that situation to only get bigger and better. We're going to end this save on a net transfer profit of that. I am determined. So I don't think I've ever won the Champions League on a net transfer profit before. So if we can't get the Greek job, that can be a goal. That can be a goal we set ourselves. But we'll end this video there. We will be back on Monday for the first 2 Champions League games. And hopefully we can do a little bit better than we did last year. If you've enjoyed that, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos, apart from weekends at the moment. And thank you very much for watching.